All right, so installing the microwave cabinet kit for the 2025 Revel. The first thing you want to do is pop off the cabinet face. This is the cabinet door. So I unscrew that first, and then these were left on, like so. So I took those off. So you'll take both of those off. This trim piece was right here, and there's two screws on the back side that you just take off, and then this has a little sticky tape on it, so you got to kind of peel that off, and you can see the residue left. So once you get the two screws, you can see the two screw holes. Once you get these screws out of there, just clean up the leftover residue, so that way it doesn't stick, doesn't make your face, when we put our face up, it doesn't stick out. And then I'll clean all this out, and then the next step is I'll put the base plate in here, and then I need to figure out and cut this. So I'm gonna slice it here and down so it folds in, so that way the back of the microwave can slide in properly. So that'll be my next step after I clean everything out of there. All right, so what I ended up doing is, and I wanted to show you this, is actually pretty easy. It takes about 5 minutes. And you just need a razor blade. You need to set it so you don't cut too much, just in case there's wires back there, but I'll show you what it looks like. I went 1.5 inches off this edge. I put blue tape on here so I had a line to cut, and I just went from right here all the way down to the crease. Then I came over from this wall, 16 3/4 of an inch. I put blue tape here, and then I cut this straight line. And then when I was done, I just cut all this off, and that was really easy. So essentially, that's what it looks like. So the only wires are down here, and that is for your USB and cigarette lighter right there. So there is no wires over here, up here where you're cutting, and right here. So just be careful. Set your razor blade, your knife up so it doesn't go too deep. But that's it. 1.5 inches from this wall to cut this line, 16 3/4 of an inch from that wall to this line, and then the last thing I did is just cut it here, and I made my cuts all the way down to this crease. So very simple. If I ever take the microwave out, I can probably just remount all that up there to make it look super clean. But that's it. So super easy. And then now this pushes back, and that's that extra room that we need to get the back of the microwave in there. Okay, and now let's talk the plate. So on the earlier models, 21 through 24, the plate just drops right in like this. This little notch goes around this part in the front, okay? On this model, because it's a little tighter back here, we actually have to put this underneath. So what I like to do is I'll just come up at an angle, I'll lift the back up, I'll slide it under the front, you can see that, and then kind of just slide it back. Now I can put my microwave on here, and I'm not fighting this edge. So I can put the microwave on here, get it locked into each one of these holes, then I can kind of slide it to the right so it's nice and tight here on this side. So that's the easy way to do it without fighting, okay? And then now we're ready for installing the microwave. Okay, as you can see, the microwave fits nice in there. I'll center it once I put the face plate up. I will slide it and center it so it has the proper gap here and here. But as you can see, the feet lock in. Everything's locked into this base now. It's nice and sturdy. That's what it looks like back there. So everything's locked in. Now we're gonna lock it in with the actual stand that gets bolted here, comes up and locks it here, so it really secures it down to the microwave base, so there's no bouncing around when it's in your van, especially when you're going down those 4x4 roads. Okay, the next step, I got the microwave in. Now I added this trim piece right here, and it comes with automotive adhesive, so you just peel the back and then that sticks right in there. And the reason that we do that is so it's nice and flush when we put the face up. Otherwise it'd be this little, it would bend in. So that goes in there, and then the next step is I'm going to screw on the faceplate. All right, so now I just lay the faceplate up there, and I want to start with this corner, right? Because this is the corner that you see. So basically I pre-drilled this hole. I got my gaps roughly the same from the edge. So nice and even on that corner. It's like an 1/8 of an inch gap where it comes up on the bottom. Same thing on the right side there. So I like that. So I'll get that one started with the supplied screws. And then once I get that going, then I'll start working my way around. But I want to get this corner in so it looks nice and clean. And then this just rests on top of the microwave, so you can do this by yourself. All right, it's coming together. Got the faceplate on. I wanted to show you. So basically we have, you get 6 screws in this kit. On the bottom, we give you 1/2 inch. Little 1/2 inch screws, and on the top you get 3/4 inch screws. And the reason we did that is on the bottom, I don't want these sticking out where you can snag things on, but up here it doesn't matter. So, and we got to go through that extra trim piece, so we have 1/4 of an inch of metal that we have to go through anyway. So we got 3/4 here, 3/4 inch screw here, and then I'm going to do my last one here. And again, you can pre-drill these, or you can use self-tappers as well. So we're gonna throw in self-tappers. I ended up using self-tappers on all of these, and that worked out the best. So this is what we're using, little self-tappers. So these will be in your kit in 1/2 inch and 3/4. So you can just screw that right in. And basically what I was doing is just making sure this line was nice and even. This was equal, this line and this line. And then once I finish this last screw right here, then what I'll do is I'll line up my microwave, which it looks pretty darn good right now. I bolted down the bracket. So this bracket gets bolted on here and here, and it slides down on top. And the idea is it locks this microwave down to the microwave base. And then there's this kickstand that's loose, and I can kind of push it and get nice and tight up on the ceiling, and then I can tighten it down, and that way the microwave doesn't move around at all. It's nice and tight and clean. So let me finish this last screw, and then the next step will be locking this in, and then the last step will be putting the door face back on.
We're not going to take these hinges off of the old door and put them onto the new door. We just need these further left too. So I'm just going to take out 8 screws real quick here. Okay, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and take this out as well. The slam latch, just 2 bolts. Set these aside, we're gonna reuse this. Okay, now we're taking these hinges we just took off, and we're gonna put them onto the new door. And you can go ahead and get these kind of started by hand here. And you will see, if you want to zoom in close here, while 2 of these are slotted, the 2 diagonal holes here are fixed holes. So you really don't have any play on these. They go exactly where they're supposed to go based on where they can't go. You might get a little bit of play here, but really you're just putting these right through the slots that they were in. And you can go ahead and real lightly get these started with the drill. If you feel real comfortable with your drill or impact that you're using, you can go ahead and take these all the way tight. But what I like to do, just because I want to avoid stripping any of this wood out, then we got to go to a bigger screw, and that's never fun. So I'll get these started with the drill here, and then you know, like I said, if you're comfortable with your drill, go ahead and take them to tightness. But I'll go ahead and grab a Phillips screwdriver. That way I can feel it so that I don't strip it out. Okay, and you can just take these, sure they're tight, but don't strip out the wood. Go ahead and put the slam latch on as well. This here is what holds the door closed when it's closed. So you're gonna sneak this in through the front of the door here. And you can kind of hook it in right like that. Boom. Okay, kind of use the grain of the wood here or a square to make sure that this is square with the door. Go ahead and put this in here. Throw these bolts back in. Get them started by hand, make sure we're not cross-threading here. And finish the rest by screwdriver or drill. And it is plastic, so you don't need to go too crazy with this and crack the plastic. Okay, cool. So now our door is ready to be mounted. Those screws that we took out earlier, you're gonna need 8 of those from the original door. Okay, and first we're just doing a dry fit here. So I basically put the hinges up into this mode here to where basically the part that's gonna get screwed up into the cabinet there, excuse me, is going at a 90 with the door here. And you can just put this in place, kind of get an idea for side-to-side placement, where you're gonna put it. Just make sure everything looks like it's square and looking good before we go any further. That looks good. We'll go ahead and pull this out. So yeah, one thing to kind of be looking out for is anything that's mounted on the wall. Just make sure that that's not gonna hit your door when you're mounting it. And then ultimately, when you do go to mount this, you're just trying to get an even spacing between the microwave and the wall here. So you can use painter's tape, a washable marker, anything to kind of mark where you ultimately want your cabinet to go. And you can also do this by, when we have it in that first mode that I showed you, where you bend these hinges down carefully. You can kind of eyeball what you want that gap to be over here on the side. You can mark that up top. Really, this part is just about getting it where you want that door in relation to, how you want these lines to look, and if you're trying to, get out of the way of anything over here. So for this one, since there is stuff over here, I'm gonna err on kind of moving it closer to the microwave. So now that I kind of know where my gap's gonna be over here on the side, I can go ahead and put this in. There are cases where when you line this up, you're gonna be able to grab the original holes that are there. In this case right now, I definitely am not lining up with any holes. So we're gonna drill all 8 of these. They're gonna be new holes. In some cases, you are able to put this door up there and grab some of these original holes. That is not the case in this van, which is good, because we can show you what happens if that doesn't happen. And that's what we're gonna do right now. So now we got this door where we want it. We're gonna grab our drill and these existing screws. We're gonna go ahead and screw it up in there. So for this particular van that I'm working on, there are some obstructions over here that I wanna kinda be aware of. So I'm gonna kinda come as far over to the microwave as possible. So this line right here that kinda goes up along the microwave, I'm just marking that line up here with the blue tape. That way when I go to put this cabinet in place to screw it in, I kinda have a reference for how far over I can go with this door. Now I'm not gonna go all the way over to that line, but I do just kinda wanna know what that reference point is, and then I can do it. So, you can say, when you're lining this door up in your dry fit, you might go, okay, I wanna come over 1/8 of an inch from this line here. You can go ahead and mark that on your tape up here with the marker. As long as you have a reference line for where you kinda wanna put this door in place, you'll be good. Another thing to note here real quick, just of where these hinges are gonna end up, if you wanna come up in here and get this visual. So as I have the door like this little L right here, that ultimately is gonna be on the outside of this trim out here. So when you take your door, you're basically just gonna push it into place, and those L's are gonna hook on to the outside of that trim plate. Once you have it up against there, you can go side to side based on your reference marks and know where you wanna screw it in. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my first screw, put it on my drill. And we're gonna go into our first hole here. You can pick any of the 8 holes really, holding this cabinet up into place, pushed back into that trim panel, and then keeping an eye on your reference mark of where you want it. What's good is you can go ahead and get one of these screws in, and they are slotted, so you can get 1 or 2 in, and as long as you have a little bit of play on where you put the screw in, you can always fine tune side to side kind of as you go here. So here we go with the first one. Okay, and I'm just gonna go just before it grabs the hinge all together so I can have this little bit of slide back and forth. And then I'll go ahead and do one on the opposite side. That way I get a little bit of support, but also can still slide back and forth. Okay, we're still keeping pressure upwards and back into the trim. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab this next hole here. Cool. So I have my reference line here. I was aiming to get this in just about 1/8 to the side of that. So I actually like where it's at. I can carefully kind of pull this door down. I don't want to pull too hard because we only have 2 screws in there. But I do need to come over a little bit because I have to clear this piece over here. So if you do have stuff mounted on the wall, again, just be careful of that as you are doing this part of the process. So that right there looks like that's gonna be our best placement. So I'll go ahead and tighten these screws in. We'll double check, and then we'll do the rest of the screws. Okay, again, we're just folding this down real careful because we do only have 2 screws in there. I want to pull those screws out. Okay, we're good. We're not hitting the microwave over here. We're not hitting this thing that's coming off the wall. There is a bigger gap over here than here. If this wasn't here, I would try to get the same gap going here. That's just an aesthetic preference. Yours might be different, but ultimately today we're basing off of this sign that's kind of adhered to the wall, and I'm guessing the customer doesn't want to remove that, so we're doing this placement based on what we're working with today. So now we'll grab the rest of the screws, come up in here, and get the other screws that we need. And you can kind of keep checking this as you go, just in case anything got thrown off. We're still good. Just don't want to get done with all 8 of these screws and realize that somehow we got messed up, but we're good. All right, so now that the door is locked in, lined up how we want it, we're gonna go ahead for this last step here. And I'm gonna go ahead and actually tighten up this bracket that we first did. You can check that. You wanna make sure that it's really grabbing the microwave as tight as possible. It feels a little loose to me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen these bottom bolts, or these bottom nuts up, and just go ahead and see if I can get that a little tighter. Okay, and the final step here is going to be adjusting this kickstand to get the microwave locked in to the best possible that we can, and kind of line this up here. So what we're going to do is basically push this kickstand up into the roof here. We can kind of push back the microwave as we go here as well, and try and get this line as straight as possible here so that it's not looking like it's falling out or gonna fall out. So we just go ahead and push this as tight as we can and tighten this up. And now you can kind of give this a light jiggle here and just make sure that that feels like it's locked in, which it does. Now we're just gonna vacuum up any of the debris that came out when we were screwing these screws back in. You probably notice a few pieces of small shards of metal in there. All right, thanks for watching this installation video of the microwave overhead cabinet kit for the Winnebago Revel. Hope this makes it easier to install it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thanks again for watching. All the links you'll need to contact us and follow us will be below. Stay safe out there, have fun. We'll see you on the next one.